Hi, this is Matt with Bob Johnson's Computer Stuff. Today we're doing a video on screen replacement on a CF-30. This particular model here is a CF-30C. First thing you'll want to do is to make sure you have all your tools available. The main tools you're going to need is a Phillips head screwdriver and possibly a flathead screwdriver. First thing you're going to do, you're going to remove all the screws around the outer base of the screen here. There's 12 smaller screws which are located along the sides in the front here, and then 2 in the back here. And then there's 2 larger screws, one on either side in the back. You'll need to remove all of these screws. Before you start removing any screws though, make sure your computer is shut down and remove your battery. You don't want to have any power going to your computer as you're working on it. So once you've removed the power from this, go ahead and start removing all your screws off the top lid. Make sure not to lose any of your screws. Keep track of them along the way. Not only physically keep track of where you put them, but where they go once you go to put your machine back together. It's not a big deal for us if we lose a screw because we have more screws, but you don't want to misplace the screw and then not have one to put back in place. But if that does happen, we do have screws available for the Panasonic Toughbooks on our website at bobjohnson.com. Okay, now all the screws are removed from the upper lid. Before you go to try to remove the actual upper lid from the screen assembly, you're going to want to remove the hinge covers, which will require removing these 2 screws here in the back, this one here and this one here. And there's also a few screws that you'll have to remove on the inside of the computer. You'll have to remove the screws holding the hinge covers down in the front, which is located under the black plastic cover above the keyboard. So you'll have to remove this plate first before you can remove the hinge covers. And to do that, there's just 4 screws here that you'll need to remove. Then just use like a flathead screwdriver to get under the front carefully and pop it up. The next screws you're going to need to remove are these 2 here and this one here. But to remove the cover on the left side here, you'll also have to remove the Bluetooth antenna You don't have to completely remove it, just unscrew it and lift it up out of the way, and then remove the screw. Go ahead and remove the screws from the front while we're in here. We're gonna have to come back in here anyways. Now go ahead and go back to the back and remove the 2 screws in the back that I pointed out just a few minutes ago. Now open it back up and go ahead and just pull the screen hinge covers off. Now that you've done that, don't close all the way, but close partially the screen. It'll make it easier if it's slightly open. Now you'll want to carefully open the front, the screen bezel. If you grab right here in the front, like right where the antenna cover is, if you're careful, you can kind of just pry it open carefully like that. Or if you have a flat head, you can go in on the side and carefully along the seam lift it up. This one's already been open before, so it was a little bit easier. The first time you open one of these, it'll have a rubber seal on the inside that makes it a little more difficult to open it the first time. Okay, so this is what the inside of the screen looks like on the CF-30. When you're doing a screen replacement, you don't have to remove the antennas off the top bezel. Just lay the top bezel back like I've done here. If you look here, this screen has 2 connectors going to the inverter board. Most of the CF-30s have 2 connectors like you see here. On the F3s and the K3s and some of the other units, but primarily the F3s and the K3s, they only have 1. So when it comes time to replace your screen, before you order the part, make sure you're ordering the correct one, because the screens are different based off of if there's 1 connector going to the backlight or 2. I have another screen right over here where I can actually show you the difference where it actually has 1 in it. I just have another upper screen bezel here, complete intact upper screen bezel with a screen in it that should be a single connector to the inverter board. As you can see here on this one, there's only 1 connector going from the board from the inverter board to the screen. The screen cabling is the same, but the actual cable going from the screen to the inverter board is different. Now be careful when you're doing this not to cut this wire here. It's kind of hard to see. Let me get it closer for you. This orange wire here. That's for your touchscreen if you have a touchscreen model. Not all CF-30s are touchscreens, so you may or may not have that. This board under this board that it connects to right here is the touchscreen board. So if you're doing a screen replacement on a touchscreen model, you're going to want to make sure you go ahead and transfer your touchscreen board over as well to your other screen. It's held on with a light adhesive. You can easily just carefully pry it up. It usually helps if you remove the orange cable here first. You just carefully remove the tape and then gently pull it back, and it slides right out. And then there's this cable here that actually powers the touch board, and it just has a little bit of, it has white connector going into it. You just carefully remove that. You don't want to break it. You can either use your fingernails, or if you want, you can use a flat head to carefully go on each side and remove it. And then the touch board will just lift right up off of it, as you can see here. I'm not going to actually put another screen in here, as this is just an example. So I'm going to go ahead and place this back into position. But I will show you the rest of the disassembly. What you would do is you would want to remove the tape holding the cabling down, so you don't rip anything in the process of trying to take the screen out. You just carefully remove the tape. It's in a few different places, so just make sure that all the tape holding the cables down in position is carefully removed. There's a connector here which I just disconnected. It's right on this end of the backlight. I'll pick it up and bring it closer so you can see the cable. It just connects into this little spot here. You just carefully pull it out. And then there's another connector right here that you'll need to pull out. Just carefully pull it out. Now the main string cable connects up here. It removes the same way as the others. You just carefully pull it out. You want to make sure not to damage it. And then this whole cable assembly here, you just pull this back out of the way. You're going to want to disconnect the two cables, or the single cable if you have one that only has one cable, from the backlight, which you can do by, in the same manner, just carefully pull it out. Now, everything's all disconnected. All you have to do is lift the screen up. The best way I've found to do it is to get back here in this back corner here, and you can just grab the back corner and carefully lift it up. It's one of the easiest ways to do it without damaging the screen at all. And like I said, for this example, I'm not actually putting a different screen in there. I'm just going to put it back into place. But in your case, if you're replacing the screen, you're going to want to actually go ahead and put the other screen in there. Now, when you put the other screen in, make sure you pull the orange cable for the touchscreen panel back above the screen, because it might tuck in underneath the screen if you're not careful. And then make sure once it's there that it's nice and snugly in place, and that you have all the cabling out and none of it's tucked under it. And then just go ahead and put the cabling back where it was in the original screen. It should all just slide back into place. Just be careful as you do this, so as not to damage any of the connectors or the ports. The cables are all in the same spot as where you took them out. Just remember where you took them out from, and make sure this rubber seal that you see here is in place. There's a slot here that you can actually slide it into. It'll fit in there. Just if you just got to have it at the right angle. Then you want to once you have everything firmly connected, go ahead and put the tape in position to hold it back into place, so none of the wires go moving around on you and get disconnected after you have taken the time to put your new screen in. Now, whenever I do a screen replacement, I don't completely put the computer back together until I turn it on and make sure it works. To do that, before I turn it on, I always just close the front up, and I always put two screws in the machine to hold the screen together. the screen assembly together. I always put one in the front corner here and one in the corner here. You can put them anywhere, but I always put at least two just to hold and tighten them down so that so it'll hold it in place for you, so it doesn't fall open while you're turning your computer on to make sure that your screen is actually working. Now, if you have a touchscreen model, which this one happens to be, you're going to want to do, you're probably going to want to go ahead and recalibrate your touchscreen after you put your screen in. I believe we have we're planning on having a video next week on the actual calibration. So, I put the two screws in place. The rest of the screws, you'll be fine leaving them undone for the moment. Make sure before you're done with the computer, when you actually go use it, make sure that you put all the screws back. But just to test it, to make sure that the screen that you put in is actually working and connected right, it's fine just to put those two screws in the back like I've just done. Go ahead and put your battery back in and turn the unit on. As you can see here, my screen came right up. It's booting into BIOS. So the screen's good. If you see your screen flickering in and out, or if it's just really dark, or there's a bunch of lines on the screen, those are all indicators of a possible bad screen. So once you've made sure that your screen is working properly, go ahead and shut your computer down. Go ahead and remove your battery again. At this point, it's not as necessary, but you still always want to remove your battery whenever you're working on your computer. You don't ever want to work on a computer while there's power into it. Go ahead and close up your screen, close your screen, and put the rest of the screws back in here. You can put these screws in now, which is what I'm going to do, or you can put your hinge covers back in and put the plastic cover above the keyboard back in place first. But it honestly doesn't matter which order you do that part in, as long as it's done. I'm just going to go ahead and put the rest of these screws back on around the upper lid. And you're going to want to go ahead and tighten the screws down. With that being done, just double check to make sure you put all your screws back in place up here. And then you can go ahead and you can open your screen back up and replace your screen hinge covers. The one with the extended piece on the side here always goes on the right side. The other one goes on the left side. Make sure to pull your Bluetooth antenna cable back out and then place that back into position. And then go ahead and put your screws back on in the front, holding your screen hinge covers down and your Bluetooth antenna down. There should only be one antenna on the left side holding the actual screen hinge cover down, and one for the Bluetooth antenna. On the right hand side there should be 2 screws in the front holding it down. Then you're going to want to go ahead and put the plastic cover back into place here. It should just slide and pop back into place. And then just go ahead and screw it back down. Okay, there's 2 last screws you need to worry about. Those are the 2 in the back here that hold the back end of the screen hinges back in place. Go ahead and put those 2 back into position. Once that's done, you're all finished. Just make sure that you remember to put all your screws back into position. Once you double check and make sure your screws are all in position, just go ahead and put your battery back in. Go ahead and continue using your computer. If you have any questions or any comments, just let us know. If you can direct your questions directly to me at tech_support@bobjohnson.com. Our toll-free number is 877-202-7788, and you can give us a call anytime, and we will try to help you the best we can. Like I said, if you have any questions, just let us know. We'll be following up next week, I believe it is, with a video on touchscreen calibration. Until then, you need anything else, need any other help, just let us know.